All right, good morning, everybody. Welcome in to Train and Trade on this Wednesday morning. We got some great market developments. Make sure you're following along on the Telegram channel, dtitrader.com/Telegram. Over in TNT this morning, if you were paying attention, we got, let's see, Magic 5, GLD, QQQ, SPY, Palantir, AGQ, pivot of 66.85. And as we look at the market today, that pivot number really playing out 66.8475, the current high of the day. So when those pivot numbers come out, make sure you pay attention to them. They are very important. Also, we are streaming live now at dtitrader.com/YouTube. Let me go ahead and encourage everybody to step on over there for just a second. You can actually watch the full presentation there if you like. Make sure you click that like and subscribe and say hello in the chat. I'll go ahead and do that myself. Good morning, everyone. Want to make sure we grow this community. The more people involved, listen, we like to get people involved in trading. So the more we can, the better we're going to be. Hope you guys are part of that process and you can do your part by going to dtitrader.com/YouTube, like and subscribe to the video and the channel. I guess subscribe to the channel, like the video. We're going to be talking about markets this morning. We got some good ones going on. There is a very high degree of risk involved in trading, more so now than usual with that elevated VIX that Tom keeps talking about. You and you alone will be responsible for the decisions you make in the market. Remember that risk is always something you want to attune your observation to. Past performance is not indicative of future results. Looking at some of the news, we got crude open at 88.49, overnight high 89.57, currently 88.96. So the crude market staying below 90 today. I think that's a pretty big development. We'll see if that continues. EIA petroleum status report came out a little bit earlier today, and you always want to know when to plan your. Hang on, let me get an update to these slides right now, because I did want to point out this day and four more to finish out the month of March with that EAI petroleum status report. Tom, we've talked about it before. If you know that that report is coming out on Wednesday, this is something if you're planning on buying gas, if you put a lot of gas in your car, be aware of that EIA petroleum status report. Just the date it comes out Wednesday. If you think prices are going down, you'll want to buy your gas after Wednesday. If you think they're going up, you want to buy it before Wednesday. That's generally the way that works. Of course, we've all seen there can be news events that shape that on a different schedule, but that EIA petroleum status report comes out every Wednesday morning as it did this morning. Iran is still in the issue. I, you know what? There's a lot to be said about it, and I'm going to leave it to someone else to say that. Just understand that things happening over there will affect the markets over here. So that's our news event there. Key levels 67, 18, 75. That FTD low, looking for the market to try and get above that. And with only 4 days left to go after we finish this trading day, I'm paying careful attention to that open of the month at 68.20. March has been a very negative month, but if we put on a 170 point rally in a market that's averaging 135 point range a day, over the next 4 days, get 170 points. If that happens, all of a sudden, this negative March can turn very positive. So keep that in mind. That will be kind of a game changer. So this is the part where I bring Tom in. Tom, we've heard a little bit of your opinion earlier today in the special classes. Uh, what if we got some updates? And for those who are here for the first time, what are your views today? All right, Tom, hang on a second. Hang on a second. You got to turn that mic on so we can hear you.
I always help. I look, besides looking for, buying this or selling that, I look for pattern changes. Last night in the market, as I told people in TNT, the pattern changed. What I mean by the pattern, we've been going up, then coming way down, going up, coming way down. Very, very volatile. Last night was different. Last night, we actually held what I would call a bull market setup, meaning things were positive, stayed near the highs. I gave a pivot number of 85, 66.85, which I said if we get above that, then it's not just a pattern for a night, it's bigger. So far, we've been up to 85 and then we pulled back. And as long as my range right now is 66.85, write this down, is resistance, and 66.30 is support. And so right now, if you take the high and low of the day, and I do this about this time of day, you're talking about 30 to 85 is what, 55 points, divide that by 2, 27. About 55 is sort of your mid area. And so the market's fighting. The difference is that crude oil did get a bid, but crude oil had a high of 90, no, it had a high of 89.57. Y'all remember that 89.40 number was a breakdown number? It came right up to resistance. The key is keep your eye on crude oil. If it takes out 88.40, then you're going to get more buying into the market. 88.40 is sort of the linchpin number there. We had a couple of great stocks this morning that took off. One was AMD, and the other one was NVIDIA. We bought those in this day trading exercise we did today, and they've held pretty solid throughout the ups and downs of the S&P so far. That's my opinion, Chuck.
All right, Tom, sounds great. Looks like Jonathan's going to be taking over the screens from here, but this is the train and trade session Monday through Friday. We're going to do this for the rest of the month of March. And you know what? Hey, if enough people like it, Tom, I say we continue doing it in April. We'll see how that plays out. Now, reminder that all trades in train and trade are tracked through T-Buzz Talk and Trade, dtitrader.com/TNT. And I want to tell you about some of the resources that we have over here at DTI. You can listen in on Tom's first book, Winning the Day Trading Game, by clicking the link in the slide. DTI white paper booklets give you specified information. You'll find a white paper on the specific topic you're interested in. And if you can't find it, let us know. We'll write one up. Tom Busby's YouTube page, dtitrader.com/YouTube. Go ahead and click in there, join the conversation. I've got Wendy T. Krish and Caddy's Guy. I'm not sure if I've seen you before, Caddies, but great to see you there from Whitefish, Montana. Great to have the crowd coming in. Make sure to like and subscribe on that YouTube page. Important terms to know. Well, there are quite a few, and we'll be throwing things out. I mentioned EIA earlier. For those of you who don't know, basically Energy Infrastructure Agency. I'm not sure what the I stands for, but basically it's the federal agency overseeing energy. You'll get the natural gas reports, the petroleum status reports. Um, we did petroleum status today. We'll do natural gas tomorrow. So it's a federal agency, for those of you that don't know that acronym. Want to make sure you guys have the access to Tom Busby's penalty tapes. Sometimes the markets get rough. Sometimes your trading can go a little bit off the beaten path. If you find yourself struggling a little bit, come back, listen to that penalty tape, and ground yourself in the basics. Get back on that beaten path. Options EDU by DTI. Go to dtitrader.com/options edu. For those of you looking to learn a lot more about how to trade options and what options are in this market, that educational piece will certainly help you out. It's very well organized. Adam did a great job of putting that back together for everybody. Hope you guys appreciate that. Adam, thank you for your efforts. And then Tom's BNN interview back from 2008. Get a look at Tom a little bit younger. And I got to be honest with you, Tom. I think you've lost a little bit of weight since then. So congratulations. I need to do that myself. So looking looking fit. I think you got things going for you there. So let's move on, and I'm going to let Jonathan take over here for the March FTD stocks.
All right. Well, I jumped into this just a moment ago and just going to scan through very quickly what we got going on right now. Not much has changed. Lots of red on the board. I'm not familiar with this stock here, Tom. AIR, Air. You had me add this some time ago. Well, it's popped up just barely above its 3-day high. Might be interesting going into April on that stock. Have to look into what that one is and what they do. Citigroup long, Palantir long, SATS long, BTU long. So the stocks that are kind of holding up really well might be more interesting as we move into the next month. We'll see. We got crude oil pressing up right now, so the S&P is coming down. But let me share this spreadsheet with everybody and tell you briefly how it works. This is called the first 3 days spreadsheet. Going into the chat right now. The link won't change as we go into the next month. So next month starts on April 1st next week. So it actually sets up really well. The first 3 days will be Wednesday, Thursday, Friday of next week. So we'll have the 3-day algo formed going into a brand new fresh week. That's all, good way to do things there. So we can see what happens on Monday and then go from Tuesday trading on from that. But let's move on from now. The spreadsheet here is going to be important, though, for today's topic, specifically the numbers from the FTD high and FTD low, and a new way to use them from Tom, with today's focus being selling cash secured puts with the FTD algo.
Yeah, this is a topic because obviously I smell a low in the market, and cash secured puts are a way to accumulate stocks you want to own long term. And I've got a specific way I do it that gives you about an 85% return over the course of a year. And I don't do this a lot. Had to do it a lot until we had this opportunity, and I don't do it a lot, but I do use this strategy at times, and I wanted to do some education on it. So I hope it fits what people are looking for. But to me, this is a way to go from circle your wagons to developing a portfolio to pay yourself. Y'all like that idea? A little bit longer term, but not extremely long, but the ability to help you, grow money. Okay. All right. The last 2 months have been far from ordinary, specifically the month of March. Probably, I was telling a friend of mine today that March has been so difficult. Usually I can look at a market with my experience and say, oh, well, we can go here and make some money, or go here and make some money. But this market has been very difficult, I would have to say, to do that. And so last week, I said, well, go back to my roots as a day trader. And this morning we had a session at 10 o'clock this morning, a very successful session. And so who was in the day trading class I did this morning? Now I say what I try to do with these puts, I take this 3-day algo and I try to find stocks I really want to own. And there's stocks I want to own, maybe at some of these lower levels, and because of that, I developed this strategy. Now the strategy is here's the strategy, the way you use this particular strategy, okay, is if I have a stock that is sort of operating, let's say, in a world of its own, meaning counter trending to the general trend, it might be a stock I wouldn't mind owning, then I use cash secured puts. Does everybody understand what I mean, cash secured? In other words, my intention is to take delivery of that stock in my account. I go in there with that intention. And I've got parameters that I use that tell me it's a good deal or not. Okay? So how does it work, I guess, is the question, right? So it's a simple setup. I find stocks that are above their 3-day algo, and I look at those stocks and say to myself, would I really want to own this stock, not just for a day, but for long term? Okay? Would I want to own it? I identify the FTD low and sell a put at or below that level. And so when we go live and I'll show this to you, you'll get a better thrill if we go back to 3-day algo and pick up one or two to look at. Okay. I don't like to do more than a stock valued at $200, where the capital stays limited. Now remember, you can do it on margin and do it less cash, but the idea is, you really want to own this stuff, right? And so by doing it this way, you're not overcommitting, okay? And you got to think, I'm going to own this stock. What if it's put to me? Well, you got a couple decisions to make at that, and I'll show you that when you get more detail, okay? Now, I will go out anywhere from 15 to 45 days, depending on the cycle that I do it. Now, I don't just plunge in. I'll do it on one day and then come back and do it on another day if I'm building a position. Everybody understand that? It's not a plunge where you go. This is you're looking at it a little bit longer term by doing it, okay? I prefer to bring in at least 2.5 to 3% of the face value of the stock based on strike price. Now, if I bring in 3% of the face value of a stock, let's just use simple math here, okay? So if the stock is trading at 100, then he's already got parameters here, okay? We use his parameters. If the strike price is 185, I would like to get 450. If it's 150, 375 to 450, and 110, 275 to 330, okay? Now let's go to a live market and look at, well, first, let's go to the 3-day algo, John. Let's pick out a couple candidates and go take a look at them.
Okay.
Okay, see what you got there. AMD, something I wouldn't mind owning. I know it's right at the $200 level, but I'd like to own it. Air is something we can look at. Let's see, Citibank. Let's put that in there. Citibank, is that Citibank? BTU, all right, keep coming. Go back up a little. Palantir is a stock I'd like to own. Okay, let's look at Palantir and let's look at AMD as example.
All right, first one up is we've got a daily chart of Palantir here on the roadmap.
Okay, looks pretty good. If you look at a daily, go back and tell me the 3-day low for Palantir. I forgot to write it down. I always look at that 3-day low.
FTD algo range is the low is 138. 138.
Okay, so 138. Now we got a number. Okay, let's go look at an option chain.
Should be pulling up Tasty Trade here. April 10th is 16 days out. April 17th, the monthly is 23 days out. April 24th is 30 days out. And May 1st is 37 days out.
All right, tell me the strike price or how much they're, if I sold a put April 17th, how much would they pay me?
You have to do the 135, which is marked at $1.75.
Okay, let's go out a little further.
April 24th, the 135 is $2.35.
Okay, and that's April, when is it?
April 24th, 30 days out.
All right, so what should happen between now and April 24th to the general market if everything goes according to plan? Y'all tell me, what do you think is going to happen? It should be in a better position, correct? Okay. If the war settles, so that gives you enough time, April 24th. How many days is that?
30 days.
30 days. Okay, and how much will they pay me?
235 right now.
Okay, let's just use 250 because we put a limit in. We're in no hurry, right?
Sure.
Okay, so if let's just do some math here. And the price is at 135, so $2.50 over $1.32. Could you go in at $1.32? What would that cent be, Jonathan?
2.5 divided by 135. That'd be 1.85% of the strike price.
1.85. Okay. It'd be 1.85. Let's go out another week. Go out another week.
The May 1st expiry offers $2.95 right now.
That's $3. What's $3 over 135? Take down to 132. What's $3 percentage wise?
$3 is 135, or excuse me, 22% of 135.
22%?
22% or 2.2%, excuse me, 2.2%.
2.2%, correct? Is that right?
That's right.
So if I'm averaging with Palantir, let's just call it 2%. And how many days is it out there?
37 days.
37 days, 40. So you're basically talking about, if you said 2% every 30 days, right? You'd buy the thing back at maybe 20% and do it again. So let's just do some math here. 2% times 12 would be about 25%. Times 12 would be roughly $24. So you'd have strikes would progressively be around that. You're talking about, all right, what's $25 over 132?
$25 $25 divided by 132 is 19%.
So roughly about 20%, right? General math, about 20%. Okay. So basically, if you annualize, it's about 20% doing that. And if you did that 20%, let's look at the money it would take. How much would it take to do 100 shares or one lot?
Well, 13
Margin.
200. Oh, margin on, depends on your margin rate, I guess. 13,200 is how much cash you would require. 13,500.
13.5, right? Okay. So that's what you'd post, but because you're going to take the stock, right? So that's Palantir fits, and that's an example of one that fits using that formula. What I'm trying to do is take my time. Now, what could happen between now and 37 days? Stock could go up, and the stock value or the put that I sold would go down, correct? And I could buy it back and do it again, maybe shorten that cycle. The other thing that could happen is that it could go down. And I'd have to make a decision if it got down to my strike price or break-even price of 132, correct? Now, what could I do if it went down, got to my strike price, and I wanted to roll it to another cycle? I could roll it to another cycle. I don't have to take delivery. Depending on what the market's doing, you may want to take delivery. You got to make that decision call yourself, because that's the value of doing it this way. But in effect, Palantir right now, Jonathan, is at where's Palantir stock price? 157. That's it would have to drop to 132, which would be 25 points. 25 points over 157 is how much, Jonathan?
25 over 157.
Yeah.
That's about 16%.
Palantir would have to drop 16% from the face value of where it is right now. This is the strategy to build a portfolio of stocks you want to own. Any questions about doing it this way? Has this been a good enough explanation? I want to do another one we didn't pick out, but I want to talk about. Okay, let's go back to our 3-day algo sheet. Cycle up, I'm looking for a certain stock here. I guess you need to go up to high. I don't see it yet. Go up. Up. Okay, whoa, there it is. I see it. Okay, now here is a contrarian play. Does everybody see SLV right there? SLV? Now, you know, I believe silver is going to eventually go higher. I've said that, right? And if you look at silver, silver has, I said if it got above 70.55, I'd re-enter the stock. Y'all remember me saying that? Okay. So This is a stock I would take the risk on. The current price of SLV is 65.81. Okay. So if I went out, go to the option chain. Let's go out. I said, what's the max days? I said about 45 days.
Yeah, 15 to 45 days, which said.
All right, go out 45 days.
Okay, May 1st is 37 days.
Okay, we can use May 1st, okay? Read me starting at 62, the put premium on SLV.
They have a 63 put, which is $4. Then they jump to a 60 put, which is about $2.80.
60 put, 280, right?
That's right.
Okay, so if I got, let's just say I put it in at 3, I'd be at 57, correct?
60 minus 3, 57. Yep.
Okay, so $57. What is, if I got $3 for 57 stock, how much money would that, what percent would that give me?
3 divided by 57 is 5%.
Okay, and 5%, you said 37 days, that's 60%. 12 times 5, 60. See, this appeals to me because number one, I had a bunch of silver I got out of, but this is a way I can accumulate silver again by using this cycle. Now, I wouldn't do it all at once. I'd be very judicious how I did it, but this is a way of accumulating SLV because I'm willing to own SLV. Now, I would get more aggressive because April's coming if I got above the 3-day high. Does this make sense to everybody what I'm talking about? This is a more aggressive play, but I'm willing to do it because I want to own the share. Now, the other alternative is if you don't want to own the shares, then you could go down 20 strikes, go down to 37 strike, go down to 37 strike.
They have a 35 strike.
How much is a 35 strike?
12 cents.
Another way of cutting your margin down and doing more volume there is to buy that spread. Sell the $55, buy the 35. Anyway, I'm giving you some alternatives because look, this is not science, this is art, but I know the returns there on a stock that I believe is going to be a lot higher by the end of the year. Okay. Polly, I'm not doing trades on this. This is too, you'd have to pay me a lot more money for me to walk you through this step by step. I'm giving you the education if you want to learn. I'm showing you the wide degree of strategies that you can do at this time in the market. I didn't talk about it the first week, the second week. This is a way to build a portfolio. Let me go back to the primary thing. This is a way to build a portfolio in the future by being very deliberate on doing it. I hope this is making sense to everybody, what I'm trying to accomplish. Y'all want me to cover stuff like this? I think people sometimes forget. I usually, most of the time, you see my short-term skills displayed, but people come one-on-one all the time with me for these kind of strategies to build portfolios, take care of portfolios all the way in from long-term into short. I'm just sharing you an example of what I do, okay? Anyway, just trying to give you some different ways of making money. It's all about making money for you. And, I want you to make money, so I try to educate you during this train and trade period. Now, how many people knew that I had a special session this morning on day trading? How many people knew I had a special session? Well, I got some good news for y'all that wasn't there. Over the next 5 weeks in April, every Wednesday at 10, I'm offering something very special you won't want to miss. This is at 10 o'clock. The first lesson on Wednesday, next Wednesday, will be how to use premium for day trading or swing trading, short-term premium. In other words, let me give you an example. Let's say I thought NVIDIA was going higher over the next 2 days, even in this environment, or AMD. I can show you a strategy I use next Wednesday that you could do also. It's not a day trade. It might turn into a day trade if you want it to be a day trade, but I decided to expand it because I have a lot of people that would like to learn how to make money. And so you can take it to day trade, do a little bit of both. If you got 50,000 in the account, but if you don't have 50,000 in the account, you can take the education and use it to get 50,000 in your account. How's that sound? So this morning I told people I'm having a lot of fun getting to show y'all this. The response was overwhelming. People wanted me to do it, and I said on the fly, let's do it the next 4 Wednesdays in April. And then Jonathan corrected me after I put it out there with the price. It said, no, Tom, they're getting 5 Wednesdays. So maybe I ought to look at the calendar. The second lesson is, let's say you got a winning trade. Let's say that we got in AMD and it hits the target during the time frame, and you want to pyramid it. That'll be the second lesson on April the 8th. The third lesson is how to avoid losses by using option expiration. This is a little bit into how to survive as an option trader, would be another title for this lesson. I will show you some of the lessons that I've learned how to buy yourself time when an option doesn't go your way and how to make those corrections to make money. Anybody interested in that lesson? That's going April 15th. The lesson on the 22nd is how to have 2 horses instead of 1 you focus on. That will be April 22nd. How many people like that idea? Having a couple opportunities to look at. Maybe you put a combination. One's a day trade, one's a swing trade. That's April 22nd. The last Wednesday, we'll review all the lessons, make sure you got it, and help you the best we can to do it. Now, I priced it like you're getting 4, but you're actually getting 5. The other thing, Jonathan, did you record this morning?
Oh yeah, sure did.
All right, we'll send you this morning's lesson, get you all started, okay? So, how many people are interested here that want to join us next Wednesday? The price is $299, and you'll be a better trader at the end of the day. So put the link in the chat, drop the link. Anybody got any questions? It's time to ask questions, because I don't want to leave you out of it if you want. Get signed up. All right, thank you. Nobody's got any other questions. I think we did good.
Yeah, Tom, enjoyed the morning. 10 o'clock, and now
I don't know if you got this recorded. You can replay it for them. They might want to hear it again.
yeah, we definitely can do that. Let me get the.
Y'all want to hear this again?
I get the YouTube cut off, and then we can replay it.
Let me ask you a question. Did everybody in future see that corn play? Well, you're paying for your futures class if you took it. Scholarship heaven again. I love it. All right, there you go. Let's see how the day goes. Thank you for being here. Where do you go, Kerry? John, check the Telegram.